What's going on, everyone? So, we're still waiting around for the news on Dan. Is he going to come on board? Are the Lakers going to be able to sign him? They already had their meeting. They already had their little talks. Dan went home to kind of mull it over. Probably spends the weekend, gets through it. Probably have our answer Monday or Tuesday. I don't know that for certain. Just kind of my guess. Probably take the next 48 hours, finish, get through the weekend. First business day, we'll probably get some news on where his head's at. I do have my reservations about him actually coming and being the head coach for the Lakers, because I just think he's leaving so much behind as far as just legacy goes, and him going down as one of the greatest coaches in NCAA history if he pulls off this three-peat. Is that something that he's just willing to walk away from to go be the head coach of the Lakers? I know he wants to be a head coach in the NBA. I would love to see him be a head coach in the NBA, but the Lakers aren't the only option, right? Like, if he goes and wins this natty this season and then decides, like, okay, I've won 3 straight, let me go, or maybe he goes for 4, and then let's say he loses and goes, okay, I won the 3, let me go, be an NBA head coach. There's going to be plenty of teams that are lined up ready to sign him. But regardless, right, whether he comes or not, which, again, I hope he does. I'd love to get Dan Hurley. Do you think that there are some pros or cons? Talked about it in previous videos. What I want to talk about in this video, though, in particular, is kind of the clear Lakers direction, as well as kind of the philosophy in which they want to implement, as well as kind of change. Because the whole idea of bringing in Dan would be a complete culture change. It'd be a complete just, tear down and renovation of the Lakers as we know it, right? The Lakers have never really been that development team. Right? They've never been that team that goes and brings guys in and heavily develops guys and builds and grows through the draft. No, they've always been about the stars. Now, that doesn't mean the Lakers aren't going to continue to be about the stars. They absolutely will. Lakers, I don't believe, even if they get Dan, if they can get a Donovan Mitchell, if they can get a Trey, if they can get anybody like that, they're still going to get those guys. But the idea of Dan is for him to come in and instill his program of development. Right? The Lakers are clearly looking to build a coaching staff and a program and organization that can properly develop up-and-coming talent and current talent on the roster. There's a lot of talks of like, hey, if Dan comes, it's really good for Reeves, Rui, Vando, right? Max Christie, Maxwell Lewis, Jalen Hood-Schifino. All of these young guys, they get to now go under, because Dan is one of the best in the business at any level at developing and growing guys. He's also the best at just kind of getting the most out of players. One of the things that drove me crazy, and I talked about heavily with Darvin Ham, was that his lack of comprehension on how to properly utilize guys. Rui Hachimura, Christian Wood, Spencer Dinwiddie, putting Austin Reeves as the primary ball handler, even though time and time again he showed he can't do it. Right? Darvin Ham did not do a good job of properly slotting guys in the best position and maximizing their talents, where Dan is a guy that absolutely can do that, right? So the Lakers clearly have a path and a culture change that they're looking to do, right? Because of the new CBA, there's going to be a lot of cycling of talent, right? Not so much necessarily the 1 through 5, but more so that 6 through 15 spot, right? Yes, and there will be occasions on the 1 through 5, but because of the new CBA, you're really limited on how you can improve your rosters and how, after when you start getting to that area where you have to start paying guys and doing all stuff. Like even teams like the Thunder, right? Like the Thunder, eventually they're going to start paying guys. They're going to start putting themselves in a position where they're going to have to start making some tough decisions. Right? So a lot of these young teams, they're going to end up, kind of feeling the wrath of the new CBA. Well, the Lakers, they want to get a program within the organization to where these undrafted second-round picks, even late first-round pick guys, are now coming in and they're being grown and developed, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have a huge impact immediately. That doesn't mean that, we're getting 5 undrafted guys and they're coming in and they're rounding out our roster and they're going to be playing 20 minutes a game. No, not in that regard, but you're bringing those guys in. You're bringing in a structure that is growing and developing those guys. So now we have our top 8 guys, right? Well, 2 years from now, we're probably going to have to rotate and hockey switch, several of those guys. Okay, well, now we got our next wave, right? Now we got these guys that are ready to go. And it's this like one man out, one man in, one man out, one man in type of change in philosophy. They really want to build a new culture, which is something the Lakers have never really done. They've always been about, free agency, trade market, we're going to get the big name, right? Kobe's gone, all right, okay, just wait 2 years, boom, LeBron comes, right? Oh, what do we do now? Let's go trade for Anthony Davis, right? And then it's the same thing. If there wasn't this new CBA, when LeBron leaves, it's like, okay, we got Anthony Davis, we'll just sign another star. Right? It's just how it is. It's how it goes. It's how the Lakers have always operated, right? Shaq leaves, Kobe gets Powell, right? Winning championships. It's just the Lakers have always done that, from Magic to Kareem to Shaq. You go down the list, and that's just how it goes. The Lakers even failed things where they get Gary Payton and Karl Malone, or you go get Dwight Howard and Steve Nash, right? Like, that's just how the Lakers have always operated up until this point. And I'm glad that they're not so oblivious. And look, because I do believe the Lakers brand still holds a lot of weight. Right? The Lakers, there's always going to be somebody that wants to go to the Lakers. LeBron leaves, and I've talked about this heavily, like in free agency. Like, if you build it, they will come. Right? If you build the proper structure and you have a ready-made championship level roster, if you get that other star, stars are going to come. Like, LeBron's going to leave and somebody's going to go, man, me, Anthony Davis, and these other guys can go win a championship, even in the Stack West. Like, let me go. And I get to be in LA with the beach, the girls, the money, the businesses, the weather, the everything. The Lakers brand still holds true. But it's knowing that the Lakers brand still holds true, but also being able to have that cog that is able to constantly pump out and give you quality production, right? Which also gives you pieces that you can now, like, because if you take 2-3 guys and you develop them to a level in which teams are now interested, right? And you got them on reasonable, well, now you can turn those guys into, say LeBron leaves and you need another star. Well, now if you've developed 2, 3, 4 guys to the point where teams are like, hey man, those guys are really good. Now you can use them as trade chips, right? Everyone wants Austin Reeves. Why? Is it because he's a superstar? No, but it's because he's on a valued contract and he's outperforming his contract's production, right? Or he's outproducing his contract, right? So if you can create more of those, one, it benefits you as a team because now you have several guys that are essentially being underpaid, but are overproducing their salaries. And also there's now more of a demand from other teams because they're like, man, like we want this guy, and this guy because those guys are only making, $15 million each. And, they're excellent role guys and they're still relatively young. So they're still upside, right? If you can kind of develop guys to a point to where now they have value on a team perspective, but also for a potential trade perspective to kind of fill in needs or get key upgrades in certain areas or whatever, I just think it's a win-win across the board. The Lakers have a clear direction, in my opinion, which they want to go, right? They want to create depth is the idea. But not in the sense of like, we have to trade a bunch of pieces. Like, the Lakers still believe in stars. Like, I don't see that just going away. And the Lakers are like, we don't need stars anymore. We just run a roster of a bunch of things, right? But I do think that the Lakers are looking at it more as like, hey, we need to change our philosophies a little bit. We need to change our path and our direction on how we usually construct the roster. Right? We can't just rely on overpaying guys or bringing in guys that, that it's like, the salary cap is so high, we're fine, right? Like we can go into the luxury tax and we'll pay the luxury tax as long as we're winning. Right? The Lakers can't do that anymore because the NBA is trying to get away from that. The NBA is trying to make sure that even a Boston, like a current Boston roster, they're trying to make sure that never happens again. They're trying to make sure that the Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant never happens again. They're trying to make it to where it's like you have basically 2 stars and a bunch of homegrown talent that you've drafted, grown, and developed, right? Like even second-round picks don't count toward cap and all that stuff the way they did. So the Lakers need that development. They want that process. Okay, we're growing and developing guys now. We're building this culture. We're building this structure, this system to constantly churn out guys. So that way when one wave goes, we got the next wave. And then that wave goes and we got the next wave. Very much like college, right? Very much how you look at the NCAA, these teams, it's like You have 5, 6, 7 guys that come in. You got 5, 6, 7 guys coming out. Right? And that's where the Lakers want to get to. They want to build that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you love that idea? Do you think like, yes, that's the approach? That's what we need to do. Really start developing and growing these guys. Really start, building through the draft. Right? Go get your stars. Go get your pieces. Go get your high caliber guys. But we need to start doing a better job of developing guys to a level in which, they can have an impact immediately, and even later on down the line. Again, that cycle of guys. Right? And I mean, you're seeing it even with teams like Denver. Right, relying heavily on Christian Brown and these young guys, Peyton, right, and then you look at even Boston, where they're like 560, but then they're waiting on Pritchard and these other guys, these young guys, right? It's kind of the idea. But anyway, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions, however you feel, down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.